very bad shakes.
Yeah? Show me.
You keep saying yeah, but they keep shaking.
Harvey has been in and out of mental hospitals for almost 10 years. He could be discharged any time, but he has no job, no place to go. There is one chance, an interview for a new program designed to help patients make the transition back to normal life.
When you are in transitional services, you are not a patient. You are a resident, you are a client, but not a patient. You are responsible for taking your own medication. You are responsible for going to your program every day. The only thing that you have to do is, if you leave the grounds or you're going someplace, you have to tell your counselor where you're going. But you have a key to your room and you can come and go as you please. We expect that you should be able to go through all of our phases within 2 years, or sooner, depending upon you.
It's much different. There's not as much fear. I was scared to death on a ward, all the time. You didn't know what you were up against. Here, everybody talks. It's a different thing. It's a whole different thing. And here they try to get them ready so in the event they can have to cook for themselves or something, they can do it. They can budget. They can travel. All these things that you couldn't possibly work on inside a hospital. But I'm free to work on every other problem. And that's good. That feels good. Feels good to wake up in the morning. And the first question is not, can I have a cigarette? Just good morning. This is another thing. Nobody tells you when to take medication. You're on your own. Responsible for taking them at the proper times. Because when you leave, there's not going to be anybody to tell you when to take medication anyway. You don't shave yourself on the ward in 38. No. They have a barber that comes in and does it. But he cuts you all off. Good morning, man.
Good morning, Harvey. How are you?
All right, thanks.
The main therapy of this transitional program is work. Everyone must have a job of some kind, and by 9 a.m., most of the residents are gone. Harvey has a federally funded job as a maintenance man.
You got egg salad, and you got coconut sandwiches if you want it.
The residents live on the Creedmoor grounds at first, then graduate to supervised apartments in the community. The first test for Harvey is to buy food and prepare a dinner for 4 people for less than $5. A counselor helps the first time.
Now that we're doing this, now that we're doing this, now I'm getting nervous. Yeah. Never nervous before the fact, but now, I hope I can cook this.
You can cook that.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Look, I'll be there. Anything go wrong, I'll help you out.
Yeah, that's the good part. It's not really the cooking I'm worried about. It's the coleslaw.
Well, the coleslaw's gonna be easy.
Totally,
That's gonna be the easiest part of it. Did you check about the mustard? I've got mustard down there, right? Ketchup.
I didn't check. That candy?
What?
Tomatoes? I've been manic for a long time.
Tomatoes too, yeah. You can get
I can remember going to school and making people laugh. And on the other hand, I can remember getting very depressed when I wouldn't show up to school. And that's been a pattern with me my whole life. I need to go slowly from a hospital to the community. I've never been able to do it because I never went slowly. Oh, there's a nice one. Look at those leaves.
Yeah, but you're not going to use these all over the outside leaves. You're going to start somewhere on the inside. These things are more tougher out here than the ones on the inside.
How do they look, though? They look good?
Yeah, it looks all right.
You used to have to put buttermilk in it to make them.
Well, we were supposed to have this weighed.
No, yes.
Oh, is that how they do it? You know, your person can be just as scared of getting well as they are of remaining ill. I'm very frightened. Are you sure we didn't make a mistake?
No.
You know how much it was?
What?
304.
Yeah?
So maybe we should get soda.
You don't want the tea?
Nah, we were getting the tea because it was the cheapest thing. I do want the tea, don't you, man? They don't want to go in now.
I know. Use your hands. You know, go. You washed them, didn't you?
My hands? Yeah.
Harvey is lucky. Transitional Services is a new and rare program. There's room for only a few, and the waiting list is long. It's the kind of thing mental health planners have long envisioned, but could never get going. While most of the mentally ill in America have been released and now live in our communities, most of the money spent on mental health still goes to the hospitals.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Like the rice cooked a little more, but...
For the last 10 years, I would look out through those gates at those bars and these tall buildings and say, that's where the crazies are. Now, what's wrong with that?
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think we grew up to have that bias, just as I did, just as everyone else did. I felt the same way. In my neighborhood, there are people who are no different from the patients here, except that they have an intact family who's caring for them at home. And nobody has identified them, in quotes, as a crazy. You know, they're strange, peculiar.
But they are different.
Everybody's different. I'm different. I'm sure you and I have our differences. I haven't decided whether I'm psychotic yet, and somebody else would probably have to decide that. But I'll tell you, if I was, and I may be talking to you in a rather bizarre manner, and your audience may think I'm rather bizarre, but I'm wearing a shirt and a tie, and I shaved this morning, I look pretty good, so nobody would be afraid of me. They'd say, well, he's an interesting eccentric. If, on the other hand, I was talking to you wearing a ripped T-shirt with my breakfast on it, a pair of chinos with the fly open, you'd be scared of me. And then you'd say, gee, maybe he should be in a mental hospital. Back when I was starting psychiatry, there was no way to manage the aggressive and psychotic behavior of the patients who were then and could then be very destructive.
So they were locked up in here?
So they were locked up in here, very often naked, in their own excrement. And they had violent buildings where they put all the violent patients and all the violent staff, and those became psychopathic societies. It takes having seen it then and seeing it now to see the dramatic change that's taken place. And you don't realize it when you're working here even. Now, my citizens groups, and rightly so, would say, yeah, that's great, but you haven't gone far enough. In fact, once I was waxing about what a marvelous job we're doing and how wonderful we all are and everything like that. One of my social workers said, yeah, you're right, Bill, but we're still the cream of the crop.
What has made it possible to empty this building?
The neuroleptic medications and the community psychiatry movement. We saw, the neuroleptics were probably the most important.
The drugs.
Yeah. But the community psychiatry movement can't be demeaned in any way.
That means getting them out into the community.
Yeah. But what it means is that we really saw that we were doing bad things to these people.
So your goal is to close this whole huge plant down?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's very important to move not only the patients into the community and into clinics and into the voluntary hospitals and places like that, but to move the staff with them.
Elaine will be leaving tomorrow morning, and she's going to Central Manor. At this point, although she's somewhat nervous, I think that she's really holding herself together a lot better than any other time in the past when she's been discharged. But what she has to know, and she has to understand really clearly, is that if she feels disturbed, she doesn't have to come back here. She really needs to know that because she firmly believes that if something happens and she gets upset, that she's just going to be back here in a minute.
They asked me if I wanted to live out in the community, you know.
That's the way they word it?
Yeah, I told them yes. That's what their aim is eventually, for you to do. And even if you do come back, even if for some reason you do come back, I wouldn't stay this long no more. I'd get out right away.
You really think so?
Yeah, that's what Dr. Fromm told me. I wouldn't stay no 3-4 years no more. No, sir, because I get too dependent on Miss Taylor, and I get so immune to the place. I don't wanna do anything about it anymore. You know. And then my mother gets in that lazy habit. She says, stay there. She's not willing to take me home. You know.
Goodbye, Jeffrey. Listen, Jeffrey, you better get well.
All right?
Christmas card you bring over everything works
I
out.
lost it.
You send a Christmas card and I'll send you a holiday card.
Okay. Goodbye, Greco. Goodbye, and I hope you get out too, Greco. Goodbye, David. Where's Eddie? Goodbye, Eddie. Goodbye, and call me up, Eddie. You'll get the number from Carolyn, all right?
Sure. I'll come out to see you.
Yeah, come out on the weekend, but call me before you...
I promise I'll come out to see you some weekend.
Yeah.
As soon as I get the address and the directions, I'll be out.
But call me before you come in case I'm not there.
Bye, love.
Okay, goodbye.
Oh, boy. It's a long walk that last. You think they'll bring back the death sentence?
Well, that's what
The last mile.
And please try to forget the past.
That's right. That's water under the bridge.
The past.
There's been a lot of bridges made since then.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Tiptoe through the tulips. La-da-dum-dum-da-da-dee-dee-dee-dee. Tiptoe through the tulips with me.
I want to ask you something.
Yes.
Something I've noticed before. They have a cigarette?
Sure. No, thank you. I'll give you two even. I'll give you three even.
Oh, God.
Lots
have
of
a
luck.
good time. Don't love him. Love your mother. Okay?
Here's
Love your
one.
mother and father. No, only your mother.
Here's three.
Only love your mother, darling.
Okay, bye-bye, Rosa. Take care of yourself.
Elaine is free, but her choices are few. No family, no job, no friends to welcome her. Ideally, she would be headed for a transitional program or a halfway house in her old neighborhood, where she could find help to make the adjustments back to a normal life. But there are no halfway houses in her old neighborhood or just about anywhere else. She is headed for a hotel in the distant community of Far Rockaway, where a few Creedmoor staff members are on hand to provide minimum care. It's either that or a lonely room in a rundown neighborhood somewhere. Elaine will be living in Central Manor, a privately owned hotel built to house former mental patients. In exchange for her $400 monthly federal check, she will get room, food, and medication. Most of the residents are older people, debilitated by the long years of illness and dependency on the wards of New York State mental institutions. More than 2,000 live in the Rockaway community.
Well, what's the procedure? I mean,
I think we're both in the dark about it.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the procedure?
Well, so you have your bags and your clothing with you?
Oh, hi, Maxine.
Hi, how are you?
Dr. Fromm said if you have any problems, just call him about me.
Okay,
Yes.
I don't think we're going to have any problems.
No.
We'll show you where your room is, okay?
Yeah.
And then you can go into the dining room and have lunch.
Okay.
All right? Mr. Beck, you want to show her her room?
I think those are my discharge papers.
Okay.
Oh, gee, Elaine, you're right on front.
Oh, how beautiful. Oh, yes. Beautiful room.
Gee, there's the phone. I guess
Yes.
Your linen is changed twice a week. Towels are changed twice a week. And all you have to do is take it easy.
13 years ago, I worked as a correspondence clerk.
Yeah, did you like it?
Yeah, I worked my way up. I was a file clerk.
Really?
And then I became a correspondence clerk. I had an important job. I knew the whole filing department.
Really?
Yeah. Stayed. But
Yeah.
the thing was, I had a boyfriend then, and he planned to marry me.
Right.
And he upset me, and my girlfriend upset me, and my mother upset me, so I had a nervous breakdown. And I had to leave my job. And then I got married to another guy, and
Yeah.
I married him right away, and it didn't work out. So now I just have a mother.
All right, do you have your Social Security card with you?
I'm going to get one made up because I lost the other one.
Do you have a Medicare card?
No, see, I was in the hospital all this time, and I just kept getting cash from the cash list. I got so much papers in here.
42nd Street train. Take the train upstairs. Get off.
Elaine can find no programs in Far Rockaway to help her adjust to her new life. So each morning she must make a 2-hour trip to Manhattan's West Side. The trip is a difficult daily test of Elaine's will to be on her own. She comes to Manhattan each day because she is a member of a club that for 30 years has been a refuge for former mental patients. Elaine hopes to regain her confidence and skills with the support and friendship of others who have suffered the same fears and loneliness. The club is called Fountain House. There are 1,100 members, a great many of whom have made successful returns to a full-time job and independent living. The members train each other for jobs at New York businesses and department stores. Their work record is exceptional.
Want to do table 2?
Is this busing?
Busing and waiting. And would you like to do table 1, Elaine?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
We run the house here along with the staff.
You get a sense of
Well, it's a reason for me to get up in the morning. You know, it gives me a place to go and something to do. And I work and I go home at night and I feel good about myself.
There are people here who have faith in me, and I'm learning to have faith in myself. These people are beautiful, and if they care about me, well, I must be worth it. And that's really nice.
Are you getting that feeling that these people care?
Yes, definitely. I've come to the house these past 3 or 4 years, and I found a lot of people who cared for me, who always say, hi, Elaine, let's go out, Elaine, or let's have a cup of coffee, Elaine, or let's have lunch, Elaine, or let's just sit around and talk. I found many people like that. These are my friends now. Fountain House friends. Yeah, my old friends are all either married or they're working, and they don't bother with me. The subway and on the streets for money.
Why?
I don't know. I was just sick like that. There were lots of times I was really bad off. Then one time I was in Elmhurst and I was in a straitjacket and I stripped nude. And a lot of times. Where do you live?
I live in...
Sit right there.
I live in Starrett City.
You go to Fountain House too?
Yes, sure. We're both I'm only there a member 15 years.
Is that right?
Right, in fact, almost 20.
And you recognize each other?
Well, I worked in a dining room in the Fountain House. Only now I have a job that I got of my own.
What will you do now that you get back here?
Well, maybe I'll talk to some of the girls, then I'll eat supper, and I'll smoke my cigarettes, take a shower, you know, then wait for medication.
Where do you go, down that way?
Yeah, down this way.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
These people coming in here, walking down the street, nobody's going to talk to them. Nobody's going to have anything to do with them. They look like derelicts, most of them.
I've walked out there and I've seen them. They sit on the benches. They're pitiful. They come over to you for money. They go around looking in the garbage cans. They gave them this place here to live, and frankly speaking, go by there and take a look. Your heart breaks. Your heart breaks.
If this was done in a very stable community, the community might absorb or integrate the problem, as you said. But in a community where there are so many other problems, I don't know if you know about the amount of muggings that are going on here now. It's become tremendous.
Well, all they have to do is put help, enough help in these homes to help these people. They have to have some
taxpayers don't want to pay more money.
No,
taxpayers are revolted.
I didn't say that they was a crime. He said,
they don't want to pay more money. But what are you going to do with these people when they get old and when they're sick? What are you going to do with these people then? Just throw them out? What are you going to do with them? You got to do something for them. They got to have some place to stay. They're humans. So what are you going to do with them?
Do you think it's better for them?
Listen, I'd rather pay tax for a mentally sick person than to pay tax for some people that are on welfare and don't even need it.
Right on.
They come out of the home, they can come down here, they can sit over here, and what have we got to offer them here?
You're saying they simply do not become participating citizens in this community?
Definitely not. I don't think they belong in any type of small community that offers them nothing. There is no rehabilitation whatsoever. Coming out of Creedmoor, going into a home offers absolutely nothing.
Nathan?
He does offer a step.
No, I believe it offers, they're taking away the name Creedmoor. That's all. In other words, they can't say, well, now...
I moved that.
Now,
you know... You're the park. You're the park, not Creed.
CBS, you've been working on this. This is your beat in a sense, isn't it?
Well, I have the next post and overlaps here, but they have a problem here.
How do you tell the difference between a mental patient and a drunkard?
By your experience on the street. By your experience, because you could tell the people that are patients in all these nursing homes, because they're dressed a little better, they conduct themselves a little better, they're a little more intelligent, they'll give you a little more respect.
Are they vulnerable to local talent, as you call it?
Certainly, certainly, because they are vulnerable to people like this, because if they have no money all of a sudden, here's a woman behind you.
Can you help me? I want to go to Manhattan State Hospital, and they won't let me go, and I can't stand it any longer. I'm sick. I have to go.
Where do you live, ma'am? Where do you live?
In the Central Manor. I can't stand it anymore. Can you come back with me?
I could come back with you now, yes.
Yeah, come on.
Why can't you stand it there anymore?
I don't like it.
Why?
It's making me sick. I can't stand it.
Why?
I don't like it. That's all I can tell you.
What do they do to you?
They treat us all right, but I don't like it. I'll come.
All right, I'll come with you.
Come on.
I'll see you later, Gary. I'll go down to the 1509 with her. All right. Okay?
What does she want?
I'm telling you what I was saying. Oh, watch that. What, you know, the days and the nights, and came for the day.
Where did you find her today?
Right next to the park. The park here, the playground, between the firehouse and the library.
Was she acting inappropriate or?
Well, she was complaining in general about the conditions here with the people, and she doesn't like the place in general, and she'd like to go back to Manhattan State. That's why I brought her back. Okay?
Thank you.
This seems like such a nicer place than the hospitals I've seen.
I want to go back to the hospital.
Do you feel better taken care of there?
Yes.
But don't you give up some freedom to go back?
No.
How long were you in the hospital?
10 months.
Was that the first time?
No, I've been in and out of hospitals all my life.
Ever since you were a small girl?
Yes, I was in Pilgrim State 7 years.
Do you think you will ever be able to live in a place like this in Rockaway?
No. No.
Are you going to give up? Stay in the hospital. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Hi. Who's this? This is Elaine. Dr. Fromm? Hi. How you doing? Oh, I'm fine.
I've been hearing not the best about you. What are these stories with you about you?
What stories?
I don't know, that you are not acting so good. It's not true?
Oh, I just hit this woman Gussie over the head. I was thinking of Monroe Smith.
Why were you thinking of Monroe Smith?
I don't know, it just came to my mind. Let me have a Coke, a large Coke, and, you have tuna fish sandwich? Let me have tuna fish on rye.
You really do believe this is best for them?
Absolutely. When I get crazy, I do not want to be crazy, locked up in Creedmoor on a ward where I can't get out of the ward or the door or anything else. I want to get crazy in a place where I got a 2-bedroom room, carpet on the floor, air conditioning, where I can walk out the doorway, where I can walk onto the boardwalk, where I can be as bizarre as I want, just like anybody else in this community can be, and where I'm not going to get locked up unless I commit a crime.
But if I'm not crazy, I don't want you living next door to me.
That's your problem.
Should I not want you next to me?
Yes, you should not want me next to you because you've been brought up to think that way and because I'm not going to convince you otherwise for the next 50 to 100 years. Yes, you should.
In the next 50 to 100 years, won't a lot of people suffer because of that misunderstanding and those stereotypes?
Yep. But I'm just telling it like it is, Bill. I just don't think that we're all of us at a state in our education where we can easily accept the things I'm talking about. I think that's a reality.
That fish got me in this stupid ass brook.
Oh, watch your mouth.
And I didn't even know the store was open. I didn't know. Can I get something?
Who would you like to have?
Oh, Mabel to the rescue.
Okay, we'll have to get the key. What do you want?
I just want a box of those cheese crackers.
Okay, we'll have to get the key, okay?
Okay.
Eddie has lived in places like Creedmoor since he was 7 years old. Now he's 23. He knows he's getting close to the moment when his years in the institution will make him chronic, helpless. He's tried to gain his release, but no program or hotel has accepted him. And so he must wait. Wait in an institution now considered obsolete, costly, ineffective, and dangerous. Wait while alternative community programs are proposed, debated, and forgotten. Eddie is not alone. Millions of Americans inside and out of the mental institutions share his dilemma and wait. For CBS Reports, I'm Bill Moyers. Since we completed filming at Creedmoor, Eddie became one of the lucky ones. On October 18th, after months of waiting, he was accepted into transitional services and left the ward. On Labor Day weekend, Dr. Bill Werner suffered a heart attack and died. He was a courageous, unorthodox bureaucrat. He really cared, and he fought to take mental health care to the communities where his people lived. When we asked him to film at Creedmoor, he literally gave us keys to the place and allowed us to move at will. He wanted us to see them as he saw them, ordinary people with an illness that can be helped if only there is understanding from the world around them. They need what all of us need, he told me, a job to do, money to spend, a place to live, and somebody to care whether they live or die. Hell, he said, what's so crazy about that?
All right, let's go over here. Richard?
What do you want me to do, sis?
Albert, could you just stop a second?
Yeah.
Why don't we decide on a theme for this mural?
Oh.
All right, let's try and make a decision. Okay?
A theme?
Yeah. That group
Why not
over...
freedom? Freedom of choice.
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of habit. Habitat.
Does anyone second
like
the
a
motion?
nice epitaph on your grave when you go?
No,
I think
I
I like a nice epitaph. And God's care I want.
How about a calendar?
A calendar? We already have a calendar.
La da 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 dee 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 dum. La da da dee da dum. It had to be me. Wonderful me.
John.
Had to be me.